Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for everyone joining us. My name is Daniela Ngarambe, and I'll be one of your presenters for today. On the call, Zita, Rock, and our course director, Professor Ignat, and we was on the Power Sector Regulation in Africa course, which will last 10 weeks. And today, we'll be talking about a couple of different things. Professor Arriaga will take us through the course, explain a little bit what the course is about, and also take us through what to expect during the course. I'll talk about the toolkit, who are instructors, and what your deliverables will be during the course. Colleague Zita will talk about the badges, the certificates, and how to pay for the course. And at the end, we'll answer some of your questions. I'd like to welcome Professor Ignacio to talk a little bit about the course and introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ignacio Perez Arriaga. Thank you, Daniela, for the introduction. I am a professor at the European University, the Florence School of Regulation, also at MIT and at Comillas University, several places. I've been a regulator twice in Spain and Ireland, and consultant and lecturer in lots of countries. And I'm the director of the course. So my role in this talk today will be to introduce you to what we are going to present, the content of the course. And the course is on regulation of the power sector in Africa. So I don't think I have to explain to you what regulation is about, because we live in a world that is very heavily regulated, from I don't know, the traffic roads to the games that we play, soccer or basketball or tennis. It has rules. Parents are dictating the rules for their children. This course will have rules to get the diploma at the end, the things that you have to do. And the power sector is also regulated. And this is what we are going to deal with in the course. Maybe you have seen or have listened to the podcast that I have recorded, about 15 minutes, that you have available in the website of the course. So in that webinar, I explained that regulation, maybe you have an idea that is not accurate about what regulation of electricity is about. It certainly includes things that are kind of routine, such as computing every year the tariffs, or writing licenses for the different agents or stakeholders that participate in the sector, or monitoring the quality of service. That is very necessary, but it is kind of routine type of work. But on the other hand, there are a number of challenges, new things that happened in the power sector in Africa that require intellectual ability, require knowledge, require challenging aspects of designing new aspects of regulation, and it is really fun. This is is the emphasis of the course and what we want to teach. So, for instance, think of something that you have seen in your countries, people placing solar panels in the rooftops of buildings, the houses. And, well, that creates a problem in the sense that when you have this internal generation at home, then you are not using the electricity that comes from the network, or maybe you are even injecting electricity in the network. So when you think of the design of the tariffs were designed thinking of people that were consuming electricity, not that people that are also producing electricity. When you cancel with your production the electricity that you would be consuming, then you are canceling other things that are not energy. Then that revolutionizes completely the way in which tariffs have to be designed, so that it is fair. It does not discourage people from placing the panels in the rooftops, but they don't create unnecessary and subsidies, cross-subsidization between the customers that have these solar panels and those that don't have. And you try also to cancel the problems that could experience the remuneration of the distribution companies. So this is one particular aspect, but you have many others. For instance, countries are building lines to interconnect with one another. And the reason for that is that many of the countries in Africa are electrically small, and that means that they cannot take advantage of the economies of scale in building plants that are of the size that is competitive, that produces electricity at a low cost, because they are too large for the electrical size of the country. So they interconnect with one another. So the rules of the interconnection, how to share the power and how to establish contracts or participate in joint regional markets, how to share the costs of the transmission lines, are new problems. They have been solved in other parts of the world, but in each situation, in each circumstance, the solutions are different, have to be adapted, and this is another challenge. You have challenges also in that, for instance, you have heard probably about the program of the World Bank or the African Development Bank, Mission 300. This program apparently is going to deliver a large amount of funding of the order of $30 to $40 billion, and to electrify 300 million people. Well, that requires business models that are sustainable, that are scalable, that could be really implemented. And the design of these business models, the regulation that will make these business models viable and sustainable is a challenge. So far, that has not been achieved. Most of the mini grids, for instance, or the standalone systems that have been delivered are not sustainable. But we don't want to waste this $40 billion, right? So we have to learn how to propose and to implement business models that are sustainable and scalable. This is a regulatory problem. And if you listen to my podcast, you will see that there are many other problems. This is the type of thing that we want to deal with in the course. In the course, we will provide the basis for you to understand all these situations. Of course, we will not have time in 10 weeks to go into all the details. And for that, we will have at the end of the 10 online course, 1 week in which we will go into, that will be a presential one in Accra, in which we will go into the necessary level of detail in a number of practical problems that we will be dealing with during an entire week in a very active and interactive mode. The course will start, we'll have 10 topics or lessons that will be divided into modules or subtopics. And we will start with the presentation, understanding the power sector in Africa. We'll continue with what is regulation, the regulation of markets, regulation of monopolies, what are the institutions that will be in charge of regulation in the different countries. Then we will go to the main activities: large generation, transmission and regional markets, distribution on grid, the design of the tariff, demand and energy efficiency. And then we will be looking at the problem of how to provide electricity to the 600 million people in Africa that don't have electricity. And we will be talking about access and the interaction between on-grid and off-grid electrification with mini grids and standalone systems. Finally, we will be examining natural gas and the regulation of natural gas and the interaction with electricity. And then a final lesson in which we will be looking at emerging problems such as hydrogen, electric mobility, electric cooking, the regulation and standards of appliances, waste management, and other topics. So this is my very quick overview. We can ask questions afterwards, and I will pass the word to Daniela again.
Thank you, Prof, for this introduction about what to expect during the course. Allow me to share my screen again to talk about the course. There we go. All right. All right, I think you should be able to see my screen. Again, Professor talked about the 10 lessons and what to expect during the 10 weeks of the online course. But I just want to emphasize that during this course, you interact with 28 instructors online. And these instructors are from key energy institutions like IRENA, SE4O, the AFDB, the African Development Bank, CLASP, AREA, which is the Energy Regulators Association of East Africa. We also have Egypt ERA, the regulators in Egypt, UCT Power Futures Lab in South Africa. We have REST for Africa. We also have instructors from the Energy for Growth Hub. So it promises to be a really engaging and fruitful course. Prof mentioned that the course will be run during 10 weeks, so 10 lessons and 45 modules, 4 to 5 modules for each lesson, uploaded weekly on Brightspace, which is our learning platform that you would have access to prior to the course, the start date of the course. We want to say that the official course language is English, but video transcripts and discussion forum are available in French. And to touch on your weekly deliverables, you will have access to videos weekly you are expected to watch. You will also have access to a live class that will feature a guest expert from the key energy institutions that we mentioned and beyond. But we'll also offer an optional office hour during the same week where you could ask, we'll answer some of your questions, clear all your doubts. You will also have access to, you also have to do weekly assignments. These weekly assignments are papers that focus on a specific topic in the energy sector. We will provide feedback for each of your submissions to help you improve your submissions as the compilations of these weekly assignments form what we final paper at the end. And you also have access to discussion forums where you can go between peers, ask questions, contribute to the different conversations going on, and also self-assessment quizzes where you could test your knowledge of the topic covered during that week. I'll let my colleague Zita take on the course badges, which are also an important. Zita.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Daniela and Prof, for the extensive overview. So the course badges are basically your way of tracking your achievements during the course. So depending on the amount of badges you get, you can track and know what sort of certificates you would get. So we have the first one, which is called the Ugunduzi badge, and that's the red one, and it's awarded after you score 80% in your quizzes. So you'd have, like we had said, you have 10 lessons, so you have quizzes every week, and you can retake the quizzes as much as you can. There's feedback after the quizzes, so you can go back and take it again. So the second one is called the Uchunguzi badge, which is the exploration one, and that is awarded by the instructor of the week, where you would be awarded for significant contribution during your live classes and during the discussion forum. So you would have to give a really interesting and very significant contribution, debate with your colleagues on the forum. You're allowed to do all of that. Then the third one is the Ustadi badge, and this is awarded after submitting your final paper, and it's approved by the course team, where you would have gotten a certain percentage. And again, just to reemphasize, each week you have an assignment and you're giving feedback, and based on the feedback you've gotten from the assignment, you can perfect your final paper. Daniela, the next slide, please. Okay, yeah, now the course certificates. So again, depending on the amount of badges you've gotten, you'll get your certificate. So the first one is a certificate of attendance. And this is gotten when you have 8 Ugunduzi badges. So that's just the quizzes. And the second one is a certificate of completion. So that's you would have to complete all the quizzes. That's 8 Ugunduzi badges, 7 Uchunguzi badges, which is the significant contribution to forum and live classes. Then the third certificate is the certificate of excellence, which is the highest one. So you would need to have achieved 8 Ugunduzi badges, 7 Uchunguzi badges, and 1 Ustadi badge. So that means you have achieved everything. And the good thing about it is once you see your badges, when we go through the platform, you'll be able to track each week what you've done and how you can improve it. But there's always chances to improve from a certificate of attendance to the certificate of completion before the end of the course. So the next slide. Okay, so now we're moving on to payment options. So you might have seen on the website, we have various payment options. For the online course, you have $1,200. For the presential, you have $500, and we have student discount for $400. So I also want to note that for the presential week, you do not have to pay that right away. So I've gotten a lot of queries regarding that, questions regarding that. So you can actually pay your online now, and during the duration of the course, pay for the presential week. We also have early bird discounts of 10% as well, and group discounts, which are available on the website. Then for the installmental payment, this is a new development which we just created because of different feedback we've gotten from people and past participants. So you have the option to do a 3-month payment plan or a 4-month payment plan. So if you're interested in doing any of this, all you could do is send an email to the course support form during your registration process, and we can work around your payment plan and give you the dates based on when you're starting your first payment. I will put the email address in the chat box so you can email about that. Well, the idea is we're making it easy for you to make payments and spread the payment plan for you. So regarding scholarships now, I'm sure you've all seen the different announcements online on your emails. We have the ASR scholarship. We're offering 20 scholarships to highly motivated early and mid-level career professionals. And this scholarship is just for the online part of the course. And it's the 1 week presential week is not part of it, it's not included. And to qualify for it, you have to be an African, you have to be from an African country, have a background in energy sector, a master's degree, a bachelor's degree with at least 2 years experience, a work experience. Then you need to be working in the African energy sector, as well as demonstrate a financial need for the course. So despite all this, during the duration of the course, you need to complete the 10-week program, because if you do not complete it, you cannot. If you do not complete the course, you might have your scholarship retracted, unfortunately. So those are the options, and I'll share the link in the comment section again, so you can review everything. And if you have questions, please share in the chat box, and we can always email us and reply you at any time. Thank you very much.
Somebody had raised their hand
Let me
during
check.
Zita's presentation. Please feel free to raise your hand or type your question via the chat box. We're also happy to unmute you so that you can ask your question directly. So please feel free to do that. And when will the scholarship result be available?
Rock, do you want to take that?
Yes, sure. Actually, the scholarship application form is already online, is live, so you probably get an email from my colleague where you could already apply, and the criteria are the same, just as he explained. And here again, I put in the chat the link where you could see all these details again and send your application. So it has been online since November 17, and it's going on up to December 7th. So you still have about 2 weeks to apply,
Yeah.
more or less.
Something that I'd like to emphasize while you are thinking your questions is that the course is run synchronously. So that means that everybody is taking the course at the same time. And this is the reason for that is the interaction, the networking, learning from one another. And for that, we have several tools. One is, a very important one, is the forum. So every week we will place a topic for discussion, and we expect that you will say your opinion about the topic. You bring your experience from your country. By the way, you can use, of course, as everybody's using now, artificial intelligence tools, but we want you to present your particular viewpoint on the information that you get from whatever reference you can have, including ChatGPT and others. And then that will, the idea is to encourage some conversation in topics that are open-ended, that they don't have a very clear solution, where many different opinions are possible. And you could enter your own topic for discussion in the forum. So this is one thing. And the other one is that we will have every week a session, typically with me, maybe with some other of the coordinators of the course, to review any doubts that you might have and questions on the topics for the week, that lesson. And what we have done last year, but we will probably do the same thing, is that you will have until a certain time to place questions in writing, and we will answer these questions first. And if there is time in the hour that we have allocated for that activity, then you can go and live ask questions, and we will try to answer them.
Thanks, Prof. We're seeing a lot of questions in the comments. One regarding the scholarship. So yes, the notification of the results will be out on the 20th of December. So you have enough time before the main deadline to start. You'll be having enough to register for the course in case you want to get any other source of funding.
You are asking whether the extra week is compulsory. Is not. So you will get your diploma with the 10-week online. I think that week makes a big difference. So because one thing is to go over the topic yourself, listening to the videos, reading some references, participating in the forum, and then spending one entire morning talking about, for instance, this problem that I told you about, the rooftop solar, and what happens with the regulation, and how that modifies the way in which you think about the tariffs, and what are the implications for the distribution company, and discussing in a group with pointed questions that we will give you. And then you come back to the plenary session and you present what you have thought, and then we discuss and present the possible options and all that. Some people, I remember that when we met in Accra and with a group of about 35 people, that was last year, some of them said that has changed my perception of regulation. So I see regulation in a different way. I realize of the depth of that is behind each one of the topics. So we cannot provide that during the 10-week, although we try as much as possible, but you have a limited amount of time and dedication, etc. During that week, we go one step deeper, and that makes a change. Of course, you will get your diploma. You will learn a lot of things in your 10 weeks online, no doubt about it.
So there's a question about whether the scholarship form is still available. Yes, it is. And as I said, the deadline is December 7th. And here we maybe need to make an emphasis is that after the announcement of the scholarships, which we schedule up for December 20th, you'll be notified whether you've got the scholarship or not. And we really encourage you to look for funding in case you don't get the scholarship, to look for funding for the course. So you still have from December 20 till February 28 to talk to your employer or talk to some organization you know that may be able to fund you for the course, to do so, and then you can still register, because we know that there is interest, but we can only offer 20 seats for now. So we really encourage you to also look for funding. If you don't get the scholarship, it doesn't mean that you don't have to take the course.
There's also a
you're asking-
question. Sorry, go ahead, Prof.
Daniela. No,
Yes, there's a question on, are there profile of previous course candidates if shareable? We cannot share the profiles of our previous candidates, but then you can see if you're able to recognize some of them, their pictures are available on our website, but some of them have also shared their testimonies on our website. So you feel free to also check that out.
And also on LinkedIn as well. A lot of them had shared. So if you go to our LinkedIn, you'll see a lot of them sharing their certificates and their experiences. So you could go through that.
Regarding the hours for the course, well, the course is synchronous, but you can watch the videos at any time and do the readings, participate in the forum at any time. The only events that have a time are the live classes. The live classes typically are scheduled at 3 p.m. Central European time, I think it is, right? 2 p.m. Accra time, so East Africa time. And they will be recorded. The only thing that is that you will not be able to participate online or to place a question online, but you will be able to download immediately almost the recording of the session. Opportunity to engage with regulators. We are going to invite all kinds of people. We are going to invite somebody from a system operation at regional level. We are going to invite some regulators, sometimes members of the regulatory commissions or members of the not commissioners, but members of the commissions. People from the government, experts that work in as developers of mini grids or participate in electric utilities. So yes, you will have a for every topic we will find an expert that we will interview, and you will be able to ask questions online.
Perhaps, Raf, you could take this one question around if we have a limit of learners for the course and what's the number of students in the cohort?
Yes, 500,000 is the limit that we have. So if we go beyond 500,000, we will have to do something special, but up to that, we are fine. So we encourage you to take the course, as you can see.
Yes, we had 55 participants last year for this year. So 21 nationalities represented. So it was really, really interesting and engaging when we really encourage you to apply and interact with different people from the continent and beyond.
The online
Also-
part, I don't think we have any problem. Being serious, in the presential week, I have a lot of experience as director of training at the Florence School of Regulation. The Florence School of Regulation is an organization that is similar to the African School of Regulation. We are sister organizations. I was co-founder in the 20 years ago of the Florence School of Regulation and director of training. And I've been running in their courses that are the flagship course that I run for many years, and is 8 months long online, but it has at the front, at the beginning, 1 week presential, and at the end, 1 week presential. We take only up to 45 people. We don't think that we can handle more than 45 in the presential part. So if we have 500,000 people attending, we will have to divide the 500,000 into sections of 45 people. We will manage somehow. So let's see what happens. So we will make a decision about what to do with the presential week once we know how many people will be taking the course online and how many people that take the course online will participate in the presential week. But we will make sure that you will have a good attention paid to you. So if we have to divide the classes in several groups or something, we will do that. So we will not have an auditorium with 500 million people in the presential week.
Okay. Prof, there's a question here. It says, Prof, I'm comparing the course with the one from FSR. Why should I take this one instead of the other one? Convince me.
Okay. Well, depends on which course you are talking about, right? So let's assume that we talk about the 9-month long course of the FSR. There are two differences. One is the course for the FSR is meant for people in Europe. So when we talk about institutions, when we talk about the problems, when we talk about the examples, we are using European examples. In Europe, we don't have a problem of access to electricity. Everybody has access. Some people cannot pay, but this is a different thing. So they are energy poor, but they are connected to the grid. The problems of interconnection, the problems of the regional market is well established. Having a market is mandatory. In Africa, we don't have markets. We have some markets, for instance, Southern Africa Power Pool, but not a national level. In Europe, all the countries, 27 countries, belong to the European internal electricity market. So we pay a lot of attention to the rules of a developed market, which is we don't do in our course. So the problems are different, the case examples are different, the emphasis of the topics is different. Of course, you will learn regulation in both places. And then the other major difference is the length. In a course that is 9 months long with 2 presential weeks, we go in more depth in the topics. So people have to work harder for a longer time. So these are the differences. There is a version now of the course that is shorter, that is only online, and again is for, everybody could benefit from it, but it is for European topics. I don't know if I convinced you, but I would be happy whether you go to the FSR or to the ASR course. Both are good, and you will learn a lot in one or the other.
Okay. So regarding the scholarships, I'm seeing loads of questions regarding scholarships and if it requires both the online and the in-person. It covers only the online session of the course. But what I'll do is after this info session, I'll send emails out again to everyone on this call with all the important links, scholarship information, the link to everything we've discussed on the call, because I understand it can be a bit tricky to go through the chat and retrieve all the links.
Sure. The link will be shared again. Since someone was asking about the criteria there, you have all the criteria listed, as we said, being an African national working in the industry, in the energy industry or related sectors, and also we are targeting early to mid-career professionals. So the requirement is, in terms of education, at least a master's degree with 3 years of experience. But we are also considering if you have a bachelor with a bachelor degree with 2 additional years of experience. So this could also work. And if you look at all the criteria there, we are going to score them exactly as you see them on the website. So just make sure you maximize the points, and maybe if it's worthy to say that it's a really competitive one. So maximize your chances if you are to get it.
Rock, I think the last question there is for you. It's still on about the
Well,
scholarship.
before that, how many sessions are going to be in a week? We don't have sessions. The only thing that we have scheduled in the week is the live class. So we will have a live class for doubts, and we will have most of the weeks, hopefully every week, we will have a guest speaker that will be interviewed by one of us, and then it will be open to questions. And it will be an expert on the topic that we have covered on the preceding week. Then you said the last in the
The last one is still talking about the scholarship.
it is mandatory for those who have been awarded scholarships to participate in person? No. So the scholarship is for the online part. If you want to go to the in-person week, it is up to you to get the funding from your own money or from somebody else. But there is no connection in the scholarship for one and attendance to the other. Something that I would like to also to tell you is about what we call this course assignment. Something that I have done with my students, because I've been teaching regulation for more than 30 years at MIT, at Comillas University, at the Florence School of Regulation, and now at the ASR. Something that I have done is to ask the people at the beginning of the course to choose one country. Could be your country, could be any other, in Africa, in this case. And then as you go lesson after lesson, you will have to write something on the topic that corresponds to the lesson for that country. For instance, if we are talking about transmission and regional markets, you will have to say if your country belongs to a regional market in Africa, and then if there are interconnections, what is the regulation of transmission in your country? How is the regulation of transmission in the regional market? And then you will have to look for information. That will make you to understand and to look for what are the resources. You will have to go to the website of the regulator, the website of the system operator, the website of the regional regulator, etc., etc. And then you will need to know if there is a transmission company that is separated or not, is publicly owned or privately owned, if your country allows to have private participation in transmission, etc., a number of things. And then at the end of the 10 week, you will know very well the regulation in that country. And what is the term paper, the final assignment, is to put together everything that you have collected during the 10 weeks and improving it if maybe you deliver something in week number 3. But then when you are in week number 7, you realize that something that you wanted to say in the assignment of the week number 3, you didn't say. Okay, you could go there and you could modify what you have done in week 3 in the delivery that you will have at the end of the course. And we will evaluate you on the basis of the 10 assignments that you could modify in retrospect if you wish. So it is not a lot of work because you are always talking about the same country, looking at the same sources typically, but it is something that you can do cutting and pasting, no problem, but with the logic and with your own personal touch or opinion.
There are 2 new questions in the chat.
Yes, there's one on, does the course cover advanced energy aspects like hydrogen, nuclear, and virtual power pools?
Well, we cover hydrogen, not deeply. So there is one video on hydrogen and some reading material. And there will some, as usual, some discussion, but we don't know if we are going to choose the expert in hydrogen or the expert in standards for appliances. Nuclear is not very relevant in Africa at the moment. I don't think that we cover nuclear specifically. it's a good idea. We could add that as one of the possible emergent topics in lesson 10. And then virtual power pools. I don't understand exactly what you mean by virtual power pools. We have power pools in Africa. We are going to talk a lot about them, but maybe I am missing something, but I understand real power pools, not virtual.
Okay, and then there's another question still on scholarship, but before I answer that, there was a question from Dimitri asking what are if there's any additional fees required for the 1 week presential course and practical measures. And I think the last question asking about accommodation is also related to that. So the 1 week presential course is funded basically by you. So even if you get the scholarship, you have to fund the 1 week by yourself, and we will encourage you because you get hands-on experience. But you have to make arrangements for flight and accommodation. And in due time, we will share with you some links where you can find maybe hotels nearby the venue, and choose the hotel you want. We encourage you to have some hotel really close to the venue, so you don't get stuck in the traffic. And yes, and if there is a need, maybe you need an invitation from the ASR, from the African School of Regulation, to process your visa. We can also assist with that. You just need to send an email requesting for that with the information on your passport, and we'll be able to assist with that. So yes.
Yeah, last year we had we accommodated everybody, instructors and attendees, the participants, in the facilities that GIMPA, the Ghana Institute for Management and Public Administration, has, which is the venue, probably also will be the venue for next year. Were not really satisfied with the venue in the terms of hotel, not in terms of the lecture, the place where we had the meetings and all that. And so we'll probably, as Rock has said, we will make some arrangements with some nearby hotels, so we could get a group price or something that will be more affordable than if you try to do that by yourself. And we will, once we have an idea of whether we have 500,000 or just 13 people, we will inform you about the arrangement that we have made.
All right, yeah. And the question from Kuma asking that you say you are a recent graduate, master or bachelor's, I'm not sure, from Germany, and currently not working in the sector, and whether you're still eligible. Well, if it doesn't matter where you got your degree from, if it's the right degree, and also you have the number of years, even if currently you're not working, if you have the number of years of experience required, you're still eligible. As I said, and we are not discriminative about that, but note that it is a competitive process. So people who have more linkage to the African context would maybe be more in position to get the scholarship than people who don't have any experience in the.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a big
African
effort,
sector.
and it will allow us to know you. So I think that I would suggest that you apply.
Yes, definitely give it a try.
I do not think we have any other questions.
If we missed your question, please feel free to raise your hand and we'll be happy to answer a question.
And I think that we have a facility to answer questions afterwards, right? So people are
Yes.
contacting you, Zita is in charge of that, and you are answering questions that may come at other
I'll-
times.
Yes, I'll put
For
the
people
email
that
here.
have, yeah, for people that have not been able to attend the session, but that they will listen to it and maybe have some question afterwards. Okay, then I think that we are done.
I think we are.
Well, thank you very much for your
Someone
interest.
asked, sorry, Prof. Somebody asked the question, can we apply from Cameroon? Yes, you can apply from anywhere.
Of
Please,
course,
anywhere.
Cameroon is very welcome.
Yes.
Why not?
And some parts of the course, the video transcripts and discussion forums are in French. So if there are French speakers that also have an ability in English, please feel free to apply.
Yeah, the only thing is that you will not listen in the original, I mean, the original language will be English, but at the same time that you are watching the video, you will have the transcript in French.
Okay. I think since we do not have any other question, we can close the session, right?
Mhm.
So who will give? Daniela?
Okay.
Thank you
Well,
very
thank you.
much,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you. We appreciated all your questions and we hope to see you in our next course in March.
Yes. Thank you,
Goodbye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.